The FBI does not explain itself in the middle of an active case, almost never. But this week, in this case, it did, in writing, on the record, in full. And buried inside that statement is a single sentence that quietly confirms something darker has been happening around this investigation than most people following it ever realized. That's the first thing. Here's the second. One of the last people to see Nolan Wells alive, one of the boys on that boat, has finally spoken. Not through a lawyer, not through a family statement, in his own words, to a national audience. And what he revealed about that viral video flips what half the internet believes it heard. Then there's her, the young woman from the beach. Because according to Nolan's own mother, she has now spoken to, directly, and what she's saying does not match what this family has been told by everyone else. All of it landing in the same window. Nolan Wells is being laid to rest today. So let's go through every piece of this carefully and separate what's officially confirmed from what's still only claimed. Because in this case, that line has never mattered more.
I think it's important that we don't put ourselves on a timetable and that we don't rush ourselves. But I do think it's important to be diligent in gathering all the facts. That's what the family deserves.
For 2 weeks, the question of why the FBI was involved in this case had only been answered in fragments. A line here, a comment there. Speculation filled the rest. Some treated federal involvement as proof the case had been secretly escalated. Others called it evidence of a cover-up in motion. This week, the Bureau's Jackson office ended the guessing. In a statement released to an NBC affiliate, the FBI confirmed it has assisted with certain aspects of this investigation, areas where federal tools and partnerships proved valuable, while making one thing unmistakably clear. The Jackson County Sheriff's Office is leading this investigation, and it will continue to lead it. The Bureau said it has been supporting Jackson County from day one in the effort to gather information and find answers for the Wells family and the community, and that it stands ready to assist further wherever federal resources can expand local capacity. Notice the tone. That is not a press release announcing a breakthrough. It reads like a reassurance, careful, measured, designed to lower the temperature. Somebody at that field office understood that unexplained federal involvement was fueling speculation faster than any rumor could, and chose to address it directly rather than let silence keep feeding the theories. Sheriff John Ledbetter added his own context. He confirmed the FBI is helping examine digital evidence collected so far and said the partnership isn't unusual at all. Horn Island sits on federal land, and his office works with the Bureau regularly. Routine cooperation. Nothing exotic, except for one sentence. Because tucked into that same statement is the real reason federal resources are attached to this story at all. The FBI said it has been working to address interstate threats received by individuals related to this matter. Efforts running in parallel with Jackson County's investigation, not merged into it. Interstate threats. Sit with that phrase. It means someone somewhere used channels that cross state lines. Messages, calls, the internet, to threaten people connected to this case. That alone makes it federal. It doesn't require Nolan's death itself to be a federal matter. It only requires that somebody threatens somebody else across a state line. And here's what the FBI deliberately left out. It did not say what those threats contained. It did not say who received them. That gap is real. And we'll come back to it, because someone has now stepped forward and shown the world exactly what landed in her family's inbox. Hold that thread. First, the friend. His name is Tracestin Shepherd. He was on that trip. He was one of the last people with Nolan, and when he finally spoke to Good Morning America, he did it by phone, off camera, because he says he fears for his safety. He and the other friends have been flooded with death threats since Nolan's body was found, from strangers accusing them of playing a role in his death. His message was blunt. He said the group did nothing wrong and cannot understand the hate being aimed at them. That everyone in that circle loved Nolan, that nobody wanted to see his life cut short. He said losing Nolan meant losing his best friend. Then he addressed the video, the one that spread everywhere. The clip many believed captured Nolan in a heated confrontation shortly before he vanished. The clip that launched 1,000 theories. Shepherd was direct. The voice yelling in that recording is his, not Nolan's. His own voice misidentified by the internet and turned into evidence of something it never showed. Investigators have been reviewing that video, but the young man who says he's actually on it has now claimed it plainly, publicly, on the record. And he laid out his version of that day. Multiple boats of friends arrived at Horn Island for what was planned as one last celebration before everyone scattered back to school and work. Roughly 300 people gathered nearby, many of them former classmates. The group had been drinking since late morning. Then came word the boat had a problem and needed to head back to shore. Shepherd says Nolan chose to stay because he'd met a girl that day, genuinely liked her, and planned to catch a ride home on another friend's boat. As for the phone Nolan left behind, the details so many found suspicious. Shepherd says leaving phones on the boat was completely normal. Everyone did it. They were in the water all day. It's also why so few photos and videos from that afternoon even exist. 2 others have reportedly corroborated his account, and it lines up with what Sheriff Ledbetter has said witnesses told investigators from the start. But it doesn't close the case, not even close, because the details around that boat still don't sit neatly together.
The vessel reaching Horn Island around 11:14 a.m. And then we also see when the boat left. Now, as we've been reporting, Nolan Wells was not on that boat, although his keys and phone were.
Shepherd described an electrical issue forcing the early departure. An earlier account from a family friend described the boat taking on water with a failing bilge pump around 4:30 that afternoon. Maybe both are pieces of the same malfunction. Maybe not. Nobody official has reconciled them. And then there's the dispatch audio, newly released from a private towing company called about that same boat. On the recording, the caller requesting help is asked a simple question and answers that everybody is on board. Everybody. On a boat that came home without Nolan. Now, that call may have been made after he stayed behind, when everybody simply meant everyone still traveling. That's the most innocent reading, and it may well be the true one. But it's exactly the kind of detail investigators exist to pin down. Add to that what attorney Ben Crump has alleged, that Nolan's phone, recovered from the friends along with his keys, appeared to have messages deleted. And you understand why this family isn't done asking questions. And here's the biggest reason of all. The girl Nolan supposedly stayed behind for? According to Nolan's own mother, she tells it differently. Her name, as far as the public knows, is simply Katie. For 2 weeks, she has been the ghost at the center of this story. Everything attributed to her arrived secondhand. A family friend relaying fragments, then her own relatives posting online to fight rumors. Even Christine Wansley, Nolan's mother, said in mid-July that Katie had only reached out briefly, describing the encounter as a quick, casual meeting, a hey and bye. And Christine said pointedly, that was not matching what she was hearing from other people. Now, according to Christine, that has changed. She and Katie have finally spoken directly. No intermediaries, no filters. And to be clear about sourcing, this development comes from Christine's own accounts, and it has not yet been independently confirmed by major outlets. But what she describes matters. Per that account, Katie has been consistent from the beginning. She and Nolan met that day. They spent time together. They parted ways. Katie got back on a boat with her own friends. And she assumed Nolan was getting on his friend's boat to head home. Assumed. She never actually saw him board. That distinction is everything. Katie's account isn't a flat eyewitness contradiction, one person claiming to have seen the opposite of what another saw. It's narrower and stranger than that. Nolan told her his plan. Whether he followed through on it is something nobody, not Katie, not the friends, not the family, can currently confirm firsthand. And Crump has separately said the young woman's account had Nolan returning to the boat, the direct opposite of the friend's version that he chose to stay. So if Katie is right, the real mystery isn't whether Nolan wanted to leave that island. It's what happened in the gap between his stated intention and whatever came next. A gap that right now nobody alive has accounted for. Remember the sentence the FBI wouldn't elaborate on? Someone has stepped into that silence. Jackson County Chancery Judge Ashley Cole, the stepmother of one of the 3 teens who traveled to Horn Island with Nolan, has publicly revealed that her family has been receiving waves of death threats. She shared the screenshots herself. Among them, a message warning that a package was coming to their office, implying it would explode. Other messages described graphic violence against her family, including her children. Now, precision matters here. The FBI has confirmed interstate threats exist and are being addressed. It has not officially named Judge Cole's family as the recipients, and it has not confirmed any specific message. Those screenshots are her own public disclosure. Both things can be true, and blurring them together is exactly the kind of shortcut this case doesn't need. But this much is beyond dispute. Whoever is sending threats to anyone in this story, a teenager, a parent, a judge, is committing a serious crime. Grief does not license terror. Suspicion does not license terror. And every threat sent makes it harder for the people with real information to come forward at all. Strip away the noise, and here is the machinery still turning. Sheriff Ledbetter's office has interviewed all 3 friends who were on that boat and has now spoken with more than 60 witnesses. Nolan's parents met privately with Jackson County District Attorney Angel Myers McElrath, and afterward Crump confirmed the case will go before a grand jury once the sheriff's investigation is complete.
She shared with the family that there will be a grand jury that she will turn this case over to once they have collected all the information and finished their investigation. We also agreed that we will have a mutual inspection of the cell phone with our experts and their experts. Attorney Eric Hertz is helping lead the investigation team.
Both sides, the family's experts and the state's, have agreed to a mutual inspection of Nolan's phone. Worth knowing, the DA's office says a grand jury referral is standard procedure for most unnatural or suspicious deaths in that county. It is not, by itself, an accusation. Authorities have also said they have not found evidence of foul play and have not classified this as a criminal investigation. Some legal observers, including former Mississippi Judge Carlos Moore, have publicly questioned whether a referral alone guarantees real accountability, and have promised to keep watching. Both perspectives deserve the same shelf. Routine process and earned skepticism can coexist. The test isn't the referral. It's what a grand jury actually receives. And one more shift, quietly enormous. Both autopsies, the state's and the family's independent examination, are now complete. The results have not been released. Crump has indicated preliminary findings would likely be shared after the funeral, which means the single most important unanswered question in this entire case, how Nolan Wells actually died, may be days from an answer, maybe hours, because today is the day this family has dreaded for over 2 weeks. Nolan Wells is being laid to rest at Center Point Church in Ocean Springs. Visitation from 9 to 11 this morning, service immediately after. Reverend Al Sharpton is officiating, Ben Crump will deliver a call to justice, Tyler Perry is covering the costs. The Mississippi Coast Coliseum's commission voted unanimously to offer their venue. The family chose their hometown church instead, and the Coliseum responded with nothing but grace. Christine has been clear about what today is for. Not sorrow, celebration. She said her son wouldn't want everyone sitting around crying, so afterward, at the Jackson County Fairgrounds, They're throwing him a party. And for everyone across the country who has followed this case, the entire service is being live streamed. A funeral that would ordinarily be the most private ritual a family knows, witnessed by strangers everywhere. That's the weight this family carries into that church. Every open thread we covered tonight walks in with them, unresolved. Before we close, the record keeping this case demands the viral pool party photo claimed as proof Nolan was alive after the 4th, actually taken on June 27th, a week earlier, confirmed by metadata. The viral confrontation video, Shepherd's voice by his own direct admission, not Nolan's. Katie's meeting with Christine, reported through Christine's own accounts, not yet independently verified. The specific threat messages, Judge Cole's own disclosures, not FBI confirmed. This case remains under active investigation. No cause of death has been released, and no one has been accused of any crime. Every person named here deserves to be treated as exactly what the evidence currently shows: a witness, a grieving friend, a grieving family. Nolan Wells was 18. He would have turned 19 next month. Today, the people who loved him say goodbye, still without knowing why they have to. We'll be here through the autopsy results, through the grand jury, through whatever comes next, bringing you facts as they're verified and not a moment before. If this coverage matters to you, please subscribe so you don't miss the next update. Thank you for being here. See you next time, everybody.